Greetings and welcome to Module 2 of GDS081. By now you should have everything squared away in terms of preparing for the class. With the holiday we've had more than enough time, so by now you should have either purchased the textbooks or accessed the ebooks and materials on O'Reilly and set yourself up with Adobe Creative Cloud. Again, if you have some challenges with the software or computer, you can contact me and I'll provide you the information you need so that you can get a loaner and possibly a Creative Cloud license. But keep in mind that the requests are coming in rapidly and it's first come, first serve. Right now you're looking at Canvas and I have it set in the student view, and if you take a look at Module 2, at first glance there's a long list of stuff, and that's the old Canvas way, and I absolutely am not fond of it because there's just too much in this long menu. So I recommend that you go to the Start Here link or page, which is actually in every module in this course. And the reason I call it Start Here is you should start here. So go to the Start Here page. And this is a one-stop shop to get you through the entire module. And if you take a look at it, I recommend you read through the overview of the module, which talks about what we're doing this week. This is our first dip in the water with regards to motion graphics, what the concept of motion graphics is, and an introduction to After Effects, so that when we continue in the next module in about a week, where you will have enough of foundation in After Effects, understanding the user interface and some of the basic features, that we can do a deep dive, because starting next week things move pretty rapidly as we use After Effects to develop a multimedia presentation, work with type, etc. And the objectives are listed here, which basically give you a gauge of the things that you will be able to do when you can complete the module. The next thing is go to the instructions area. The Start Here tab in the instructions area gives you a clear picture of, or summary, should I say, of all the tasks you need to complete for the week. And this is nice because it's very succinct and clear. For example, in order to complete the module, you need to read Chapter 1, pages 1 through 10 in After Effects for Designers, review the lecture videos and materials, review and complete the Lab 1, the lab demos and tutorials, and these are this week a combination of Adobe tutorials, really short and succinct, and that will vary from week to week. And then access and complete the following for lab number 1, read the instructions for the lab, and access the Dropbox, which is actually the same page. Then use the week 1 lab 2 source files, which is a zip, or you can use some files of your own, but if you decide to use a video for the lab, it can't be more than 15 or 20 seconds because it gets fairly large. And then you're going to use After Effects to put together a composition, very simple composition, and then I want you to export and submit the MP4 to the Dropbox. And if you would be so kind, post a sample of the video in the Module 2 questions forum. And not that you have a question, but the questions forum is for questions or sharing, and that's optional, of course. And then you have to post to the 12 Principles of Animation and an Inspiring Composition forum. And when you're done with step 5, then you're done with everything for this module. Now I call it a module because it isn't by week. In general it is, but you get approximately 9 days to get through the module. And then if you go to the next tab, you get quick access to all the lecture demos, lecture number 2, which is the history and animation principles of motion graphics. There are 3 videos there. It'll take you about 15 minutes to get through it, and then another video on and web page on what is motion graphics, and then another on the type of motion graphics. You can get through each of these, all 3 of these, should I say, in about 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how fast you read and watch the videos. These are required. And then this tab gives you direct access to the lab. And again, you see the instructions in duplicate, links to the Adobe tutorials that are required for you to review, getting to know After Effects, and then working with compositions. And with working with compositions, you're only required to complete items 1 through 3. And then read the Lab 1 instructions if you want to read them again, because after you complete the Adobe tutorials, then there are instructions for Lab 1, which is actually where you get to make something. I give you some source files, but again, you can use your own. And here's a link to the Lab 1 demo video. This is optional. Hopefully, after watching the Adobe tutorials, you'll know how to put together that simple composition for the lab, given the Illustrator files in the video that I provide you. If you like, you can look at the Lab 1 demo video, which is a recording from a previous GDS081 course. If you watch that video and follow along, it reinforces what you learned in the Adobe videos, and it will help you complete the lab and submit it to the Dropbox. Only in this video, I tell students to upload the After Effects file because when it was recorded, we were in the classroom. So for this case, you need to export your composition to MP4. And there is another video which tells you how to do that. It's very simple. When you're done with the lab, the last thing you want to do is I want you to participate in the Disney's 12 Principles of Animation discussion. And in that discussion, you need to find a motion graphics composition that you find interesting or resonates with you, maybe something that you might want to use as an inspiration for your final project, and then point out at least 2 of Disney's 12 Principles of Animation. And again, if you have any questions, post to the questions forum. If you want to share a link to your MP4 or embed your MP4 in Canvas, go ahead and do that. Please make sure you output the MP4. The files are too big at this juncture, and Canvas won't let you upload them. And in the resources area, I have links to sample motion graphic samples on Vimeo, and there are literally hundreds, which you might use to browse through perhaps for the Disney's 12 Principles of Animation discussion. Another link to 100 motion graphic samples. Again, these 2 are excellent for inspiration and getting an idea of the depth and breadth of motion graphics. A link to the After Effects user guide, which you don't have to read. It's a reference. And then a really nice link to a web page that covers in great detail the history of motion graphics. And it would behoove you, if you have time and interest, to take a look. So this is the one method that you can use to access the module and get everything done. I call it the one-stop shop. If for some reason it's a little too granular for you, you can access the module, go back to the module, and you can access it the old-fashioned way. Like here you'll find the old-fashioned Canvas way, should I say. Lecture videos and demos, a link to the Lecture 2, what is motion graphics, the Adobe tutorials, the lab and the lab resources, then the discussion forums, and the additional links. So these things are in here in duplicate. Again, the easiest way to get a big picture for the module is here. And if you want to access the materials one by one, then you can go directly to Canvas and each of the individual links. It looks like there's a whole lot, but it's in line with the requirements of the course. What I recommend is you start with the reading and watching the videos, and then from there, take a little break, maybe come back and do the Adobe tutorials. They go fairly fast, and Adobe gives you all the resources you need and follow along. The instructors are really good, and I think you'll find their presentation useful. And then maybe take another break or so for a day, let it all sink in, and then come back and complete the lab. And then after you're done with that, maybe take another break and then come back and post to the discussion forum. Make sure that you reply to at least one of your peers. In order to get full credit for the discussions, that you need to reply to or comment to one of your peers. Now you might notice that the due date is the 19th, and as I said, I structure these modules. They're modules. They don't necessarily parallel the weeks of the semester. So as you can see here, you get about, by schedule, 10 days to complete this module. So it's not due until the 19th. However, I want to emphasize that I automatically give you a 48-hour extension. So if you turn in the labs, particularly the lab exercises, by the morning of the 21st, I'm not going to nail you in terms of points, but I would hope that you don't use that extra 48 hours every week, because it puts me behind in grading, and so it would be beneficial for both of us if you stay on schedule. I think 10 days is more than enough time to get through this module. And what I will do is I will release the next module by the 17th or the 18th, so it's available should you finish this module a little bit early. And so that's pretty much a wrap. If you have any questions, post your questions to the questions forum.